Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. It's so great to see so many of you here tonight to talk about something delightful. And we hope you're going to enjoy this presentation. So a little bit of an introduction. My name is Rodolfo. I'm the Helcim head of design. And here with me tonight, there is my colleague Sharmeen that I will be sharing this presentation with.
So Sharmeen Akhil, I am a product design manager at Helcim, and yeah, let's get started.
All right, so before we dive into the topic, let's spend a minute to introduce Helcim, the company we work for, because it will help us connect better with tonight's topic. So who is Helcim? Helcim is a payments company. We provide payments technology and services to our merchants in Canada and the US. So you can think of companies like Square, Stripe, Moneris, PayPal. Helcim is fairly similar, but the best part of it is that we are not like any of those. Our key value proposition basically consists of combining modern payments technology with a very affordable service to help support all sorts of businesses, from professional services to healthcare, from retail to hospitality, but also contractor and wholesalers. So we are fairly horizontal. And the way we engage with our merchants is with a friendly human touch. And we believe that that is the right way to ultimately establish a strong relationship with our merchants. So this is the right way to eventually grow all those businesses. As much as it seems counterintuitive for a payments company, we don't like to be perceived as transactional, but more as partners that will help you grow along the way by providing you with the right service and tools that fits your needs. And upon these values, we built our brand promise, which is to become the most loved payments company. That is an infinite game that serves us as a North Star to help inform all the decisions that we make along the way. And so tonight's presentations about delight will very well align to this vision and will help us illustrate how we bring it to life. So let's start. What is delight? What do we mean by that? So, well, people and companies might have different definitions for it. For some, it might be about crafting moments of joy and surprise, whereas for others, it might be about creating seamless and elegant solutions. And while these definitions may vary, here's how I like to think about it. Delight is not a replacement for UX, but it is more a layer that comes on top of an already great user experience. And it is not one size fits all, but more something that needs to be very well aligned to your brand personality and audience. So you can think of it as a spectrum. So on one side, you have the elegance of Rolex, timeless, precise, and luxurious. And on the other one, the playfulness of Figma, which is more collaborative, fun, and creative. So try for a moment to invert now the delight outcome and have the playfulness of Figma showing up in the elegance of Rolex. That will feel pretty off, right? So that variability exists because delight needs to align to our brand personality and especially audience expectations. And when that doesn't happen, it creates a pretty jarring disconnection. And you all might have heard of the recent Jaguar rebrand, right? So that is exactly it. That's the kind of disconnection. But okay, so why is that important? Why should we care about delight? Well, to answer this question, we need to first understand what is the ultimate goal of us at Helcim, but also of any other company. So, we all want to be successful. And while success might mean different things for different companies, It also means that we all need customers who actively use and value our products, right? But here's the challenge. None of these companies are truly unique. So customers can pick you, your product, or they can choose one of your competitors. And so that includes us. So they all need one thing. They need to stand out. But so how to stand out among anyone else? How to make sure that customers will pick your product? They will not go to one of your competitors because they want you. And so we believe that a powerful way is to invest in the product experience. And all products have one. Exactly like all companies have a culture. You just want to be on the right side, on the right edge of the spectrum. And so when it comes to the product experience, given the fact that you want to provide a good one, that experience needs to scale and grow with the product. And so when you start, your product might be fairly easy and there shouldn't be any problem to manage it. But as it scales and it adds more features and functionalities to address more and more user needs, then that experience has to scale proportionally in order to balance that increased complexity. And by the way, that's exactly where we UX designers shine, because we are in charge to design how those features and functionalities will look, but especially feel. But here's the thing, great UX doesn't necessarily make you stand out. Not anymore. It is definitely important, it's a foundational, but it's no longer a differentiator. That's because UX in part has been already democratized and in many cases is taken for granted. So the question is, what comes after great UX? What's next? So we'd like to think that it's called delight. Delight is a way to go beyond user expectations. And again, it is not a replacement for great UX, but it's more of a layer that comes on top of it, because it brings the experience from great to memorable. And that's gonna be what makes you stand out. So people come to your product because of what they expect, but they only rave about what they didn't expect. This is Scott Belsky, currently Chief Strategy Officer at Adobe, also pretty famous because he was the founder of Behance, that most of you probably know. That is when delight has a great opportunity to achieve so. But we need to start thinking more as brand than product designers. Why? Because brand is your vehicle for delight. So let's talk about this for a little bit. And let's take a step back. Most companies have these two departments inside. We have product and marketing. They are both pretty critical. And so while product is all focused on adding more features and functionalities, expanding the product, again, to solve more and more user problems, marketing is all about pitching that product by generating leads and conversions. The interesting thing is that marketing achieves so by utilizing the brand as a way to stand out and differentiate. Whereas product is more about creating something that is useful, that is intuitive and simple. The thing is, marketing actions the brand across all channels, from advertisement to social media, websites, emails, and so on. But this difference in scopes might create a little bit of a disconnection based on where the customer is in the journey. Because when you go through advertisement, everything is branded and intentional. Whereas when you become a customer and you start using the product, everything might feel a little bit flat and sterile all of a sudden. And that disconnection is a problem, because while internally we see those two departments with those two scopes, and that makes total sense, and you might have even further teams inside those departments, externally our audience just see one thing, which is the brand. And so if marketing leverages the brand to stand out and differentiate, why can't product do the same thing? And so now you see there's an opportunity here with our brand, because it can be the vehicle to bring delight into our products. But before we understand how to do it, how to achieve it, we need to first figure out whether our brand is even manifesting into our products, and even how. And so to solve this problem, at Helcim we built a framework called Attract, Engage, and Delight, or AED. It's very creative. So this framework essentially serves two purposes. The first one is to ensure there's brand continuity across all phases of the customer journey. Because as we were saying earlier, in most instances, when you go through advertisements, so more top of the funnel, and then more down the funnel with social media, with websites and emails, the brand is there. It's quite intentional. But when you start converting and you go through the onboarding phase, and then you later become an active customer of the product, the brand might completely disappear. Of course, that is not an absolute. There are companies that are keen to these problematics, and they have solved it. But in most cases, there is this disconnection. And so this framework, the first purpose is to ensure that our brand is consistently manifesting across all phases. And the second purpose is to control how it manifests. So think of it as a knob where you can adjust / modulate the brand volume, because we don't want it to come across identical as it does in product in advertisement. So, they are two different worlds, two different spaces. So also the brand needs to adjust accordingly. So these are the two main purposes. Now, let's see more in depth, phase by phase. So we have the attract phase. Here, colors, gradients are more intentional. The visual brand is very expressive because the need is to be seen. Our communication style is bold and direct. And this phase is usually expressed by advertisement, social media, but also trade shows. As we shift toward the engage phase, here the visual brand tones down a little bit. This is the phase where our prospects are getting educated about our product offering. So we don't want to distract necessarily. So the brand is still intentional, but it is not as intense as before. The communication style changes to be more simple and informative, because the need is to educate and not distract. And finally, we have the delight phase, and this is where our brand lives in our products. So here the brand presence is more muted but still intentional. And our visual language changes again. So you can see that colors, gradients, our visual language is more light, is softer. But here's where we embrace illustrations and animations to essentially craft moments, unexpected and clever moments of delight. And you will see down the presentation how we, in the specific action, a couple of examples of this brought in our products. So we're not talking about big flashy initiatives. It's more about all of those small touches that all together contribute to make the product more engaging and enjoyable. And again, the communication styles changes again to become more actionable and concise, which is essentially a function of UX writing. Because the need is to make our presentation, our experience more intuitive and usable, but also memorable and unique. So here you have an example of how our illustrations in the specific adjust their style based on the phase of the customer journey. So when we are on the attract and engage, so they are richer. The details are richer, colors and gradients are more intense. And then when we start shifting to the delight space, which is our products, they become a bit lighter, and the level of details decrease toward approximation rather than realism. So this framework is our approach that essentially ensures that we always have our brand translated across all phases of the customer journey, from marketing to product, because the intention is to create a seamless experience. Now, Charmaine will take it from here, and she'll go through how we action the light at Helcim more in the specific.
So thank you, Rodolfo. Thank you for setting up the stage of what's delight. And now I would love to develop how we are applying delight in Helcim's products. But before I go deep into the examples, I would love to show you that there is a big role of the chemistry between product design team and the brand design team. So as we all know, product designers, we are all in the world of constants, living in deadlines, releases. We have a pressure from the product management, developers. So we really need to feed ourselves the creativity, and how we are doing it is collaborating with the brand design. The brand design team at Helcim, they are composed of generalists, web designers and graphists, also the specialist of motion designers and illustrators. So the way we both are collaborating these teams, we are creating this magic of delight. Here I want to give you one example that how exactly this happens, because we product designers, we know exactly where is the moment when the user is interacting with our product, and so we identify yes, that's the point where I would love to do something and make a joyful moment for them. So let me tell you a story. It's not a story actually. It's a few months ago, there was a product designer. She had an idea. She wanted to explain our merchants with the concept of a batch. Batches are basically kind of folders in which they are receiving money, and she wanted to explain in the product that the batch is open and we are receiving the money. So how can she explain this in a more delightful way? So she went to the brand design team. She explained what she wanted, and someone said, it seems like a Pac-Man eating balls. And that was the time that she said, good idea. And then she applied this. And you will see in the presentation, I have that example. So yeah, you see that this collaboration, this bonding that we have created in the company between product design team and the brand design team make this all happen. And while we are doing in this collaboration, there are three important things that they both are putting emphasis on. Number one is how we can bring joy. Second is how can we build something clever, unexpected moment in the user journey. And so in the examples, you will see that these are the things that we can elaborate on our different points of the user journey. And lastly, the brand differentiation. So that's also an important element that Rodolfo was saying at the beginning. Every company needs to stand out, and how can we bring it as a standout element? So here, one thing also I want to mention, that apart from the collaboration between two teams, our illustrations is the way to go. We embrace our illustrations, and it is rooted in our visual design in illustration. So as you have seen also the example that we were mentioning before, these illustrations, which are more attract and engage towards marketing sides, they are more delightful on the product design side. And so why exactly we are embracing them? The first thing is simple. Yes, a visual, an image speaks 1,000 words. So yes, simplify the complex ideas. but also it also brings the visual identity into the product. So the visual identity that marketing team has been using, we are bringing it into the product. And lastly, creating this emotional connection with our user. And that's where our presentation is about, is how can we connect with our users besides a great UX. So now I'm going towards the few examples where we are doing. So in this particular example, this is a simple dashboard. You have the graph, you have the vertical navigation, everything is good. But what we did in here, we put a small doodle on the top left. I think it's the top right. Yeah, so on the top left of this screen, it explains the different events of the year, also some different seasons of the year. But not only that, on the May the 4th, there will be a Star Wars image. So you see, the sky's the limit when we apply the creativity.
It's gonna come. Okay, no, it's not
gonna. And this is also another moment when we are uploading an image. So many of us go through this process maybe multiple times of the day when we need to upload an image, a video. But here, Helcim, again, the designers, they identified this key moment where we can apply a small animation to upload an image. So yeah, just a little touch, but makes a difference. This is the example that I was talking about, the Pac-Man. So yeah, it's delightful. We could have done this easy, making a tooltip or some kind of information that that you're receiving. But using those small animation, it again help us to create this emotional connection with our user.
And it's not about great initiatives, but it's about identifying the right opportunity to make something that feels a little bit different, that feels joyful. And I think it conveys the ideas that transactions can keep coming in.
Yeah. So as you said, identifying those moments. Yes, we are not the first one who created creatively this 404 page, but we place strong emphasis on both visuals and copywriting, ensuring that our illustrations and text harmonizingly work together and provide the message, also continuing the brand identity in our product. So many things going on in this 404 page, and we are taking seriously those moments. But there are some moments which are not always joyful for the user. For example, this example where the access got denied and the user just cannot go further from this screen. We cannot make all the moment joyful, but here what Helcim is doing is neutralizing those anger feelings into more subtle way. So we can still use animations and illustration, but we have to be careful that we cannot make a joke of anything by any time.
Yeah, it's a fine line, because you don't want to escalate already negative feelings. You want to neutralize them. And so we were trying to do that.
So the third thing that I said initially during the collaboration between product design team and the brand design team is the brand differentiation. We at Helcim identified a huge opportunity during the payment processing time. So these are the smart terminals where users are processing their payment, and when it's done, you see in our competitor's screen, it's white, sterile, green tick, plain, flat, nothing much happening here. While what we thought that this is the time we can build an emotional connection with our users and also bring what is our brand identity. So this is the Helcim's terminals. And I personally went to a restaurant a few weeks ago, and when I processed the payment, I haven't noticed before which terminal they were using, but the moment the payment was processed, I saw this illustration, the whole scenario where Helcim is putting emphasis on the user and the product connection. This is the secret weapon of our company, and we are executing it in this way. Okay, so that's all good. Yeah, Helcim, it's working at Helcim, but how can you get the buy-in? So, well, the first and the most easiest way is to share this presentation. Easy peasy. It will be available soon, and yeah, we'll let you know when it's going to be available. But here we have clear examples of how Helcim created a brand differentiation and creating human connection. Apart from this presentation, there are a few more things that you can do. Is first first you have to show them that it can be an element of a brand differentiation. As you saw in the example of the Helcim, it's clearly it makes our processing system makes a great difference between us and the competitors. There's also this loyalty and truthfulness. And lastly, those moments are more memorable than something without life, without any feeling, without any connection. So those are the top 3 things that you can use to get the buy-in. But there's also other things that you can do. For example, if your company is so data-driven, you can also use those NPS score, CSAT score, to say that yes, there is a big difference between a simple interaction and an interaction with the delightful moments. But where we are really emphasizing is creating those user interviews, those qualitative, collecting those qualitative data, where we can see that we are capturing human emotions from focus groups, from surveys. The sky is the limit, the way you want to capture those. But this is where those qualitative data can show the difference that between a normal and a meaningful product. And finally, we as a product designers, as I was saying earlier, that we are living in the world of constraints. How can we build one more thing on top of that? So if we can break our product into multiple pieces in an MVP and using those A/B testing with something with a delightful moment embedded in the product and something without delightful moment, you will clearly see the engagement difference between both of them. So yeah, those are the things that we can clearly use to get the buy-in.
All right, thank you so much, Charmaine. And time for a quick recap. So why we would consider then the light, adding the light to our products. So if there are 3 things that you gotta take away from tonight's presentation, the first one is, ensure brand continuity across all phases, because that creates eventually a more seamless experience for our audience. Remember, our audience doesn't see departments and scopes and all of that. They just see one brand. And so it has to be consistent. It has to be seamless, right? So the second point is that the light is a great opportunity to drive product differentiation. So think of our strategy to essentially push for our branding during the payments moment. That's when our merchants, customers pay. And so it was a great opportunity to kind of differentiate, especially because all our competitors are not doing anything particularly special. And the third point is because eventually the light will help you elevate the product experience from great, which is brought by user experience, to memorable, which is eventually what will make you stand out. So that was everything. Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Here we added some current job openings that we have at Helcim. If you guys are interested, you can scan the QR code and get to our careers page. Now we're going to have some time for Q&A. Feel free to ask any questions, but thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Rebecca Harper, Information Architect and UX Strategy Consultant. I'm glad at the end you mentioned, Rodolfo, how you have merchants who are your primary users are the ones
Yeah,
who are
yeah.
choosing to purchase your service and your products, but you also have the customers of said merchants.
Yes.
So in the example you showed of what that transaction looks like at the till when someone makes a purchase, how does that actually translate into any sort of performance metrics you might have around convincing a merchant to purchase your product and service?
So this is what I think. So while we provide technology and a very affordable service to our merchants, we also need to take care of their customers, because eventually, our merchants will interface with their customers. So we always need to balance and create a great experience for both. And so we have multiple products, for example, where you can pay online as a customer. So we need to ensure that the experience is, top notch, not only for the merchants using our products, but for any time that a merchant exposes an interface in front of their customers. So it's literally, trying to bring both experience, to elevate both experiences at the same time. No problem.
Next question.
Firstly, thank you so much for this talk. It was got some really great insights from it.
Thank you.
Just curious, with the rise of generative AI, as you know, do you perceive it having a strong role in your illustrations, as it is a big part of your brand?
In terms of AI, we are embracing AI at the company as a means to accelerate and be sort of a productivity. We see it as a way to essentially shortcut a lot of steps that we had before. So, but it's in terms of like UX design, maybe the UX research pieces where we take the most advantage of AI tools in order to sort of like validate our assumptions faster. And I think that what I'm trying to do with my team is like, anytime you need to validate an assumption, think how you can get some early insight through AI. It can be like ChatGPT or other UI tools, in order to essentially build enough confidence that you have, enough like insights to move forward and start designing the solution. Because a lot of the work that we do, it's not truly unique, right? So a lot of people already solved a lot of our problems, and it's good. Like AI is a good way to sort of like get those insights quickly, and maybe you can shortcut some of like the user interviews. I mean, there are right moments for user interviews, usability testings, but there's a lot that you can get out of like AI tools nowadays that can sort of accelerate that UX research process.
So just building what he said, when we are doing the A/B testing and creating an image, AI is a great tool to just quickly see the difference between with illustration or image or without. So those are the time that we privilege AI rather than doing it manually.
And just like I know that, for example, now Figma offers a lot of AI tools inside. We haven't used them yet. We might consider them more as kind of not having the blank slate, right? You start with something already. We will never use probably something that generates out of the blue, okay, this is it. No, but it's going to be a good foundation that you can use to build on top and refine it.
Perfect, thank you.
So regarding usability testing, you don't want to make a joke out of a serious issue. So what type of question would you ask regarding, how do you know that the sense of humor you've used isn't offensive or anything?
So I guess A/B testing can be a great way to evaluate that. Also, getting some qualitative insights as well. You know, when we do illustrations, when we come up with the light opportunities, we also evaluate carefully like the context in which we are developing those solutions. We believe that we thought at that solution, that outcome was still appropriate for the kind of issue that you might go through. Definitely, if you have a transaction denied, we will never do anything similar. We will just be serious. Okay, transaction denied. I'm sorry. Try it again.
Oh, thanks very much.
That's a very good question. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions on this side before I go to the other? Yes. Please, Janet.
Hi, Janet here.
Hi.
I actually work for a brand that's actually very similar, I feel, to Helcim, Porter Airlines. My question is, I've been there for 6 years now, and I know the brand evolution it's gone through in terms of needing to get to where it is today. You seem very advanced in terms of where you are, in terms of your brand strategy and everything that's involved in that. I'd love to hear a little bit about that, just in terms of that journey of where you started off and then how you got to where you are today, and maybe if you can get into some pain points in there as well, it'd be great. Yeah.
So, okay, Helcim a couple of years ago was looking very differently. It was pretty much a monotone, blue, flat kind of visual language. But our personality was the same of today, so more like, friendly, approachable. So we saw that there was a disconnection with, what we were already in terms of like brand personality, but our visual language didn't align with that. So we start thinking of a rebranding, and that also updated our logo. And so the framework that I showed earlier, the attracting, engage, and delight, it came basically naturally, because as we pulled off the new visual language, that was like definitely, we had only one color before, and so we said, okay, let's have many more. Let's have gradients as a means to kind of convey more energy and vibrancy and that sense of, positive feelings. But then we quickly understood that you can't really apply those strong gradients or colors everywhere in every context. And so from there was a need to essentially build a framework that would create more order, put more logic into the way we would apply those that brand language. And so we started brainstorming, and I think that those three phases, like attract, engage, and delight, are pretty much meaningful, because you go from top of the marketing funnel to more down the funnel with the engage, and then you convert and become a customer and you activate. So you still want brand there because it's still Helcim, but you want it manifesting in a different way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, just a follow-up question there.
Yeah.
How hard was it? I know you had talked a bit about the buy-in that you get from the different phases. How hard was it to get buy-in in general, just when you're doing a rebrand and it involves culture and the entire company? Just the difficulty in that.
Quite hard.
Yeah.
I mean, quite hard because a company like Helcim is not ran by designers only, right? There are many moving pieces. There are many priorities. And, the experience for our products, but also our brand is one of those moving parts. So you first need to be surrounded by people that understand what you are trying to bring. They understand the value of great experience, the value of the brand. But then it's still, you need to continually educate them so that they don't only understand it, because everybody understands that the brand is important, but maybe they don't believe it all the way till the end, right? When they have to make a decision and prioritize something like a delight initiative versus something else because it can break the roadmap, it can break the sprint, it can slow down things. But I think that as long as people generally understand the value that we bring as designers and as brand designers as well, there will always a way to compromise. And so, you maybe not go live with the first, with your delight idea on your MVP, but there will be that understanding that we will go back to it and build it, because it is important eventually, because we all form an opinion. We are all users of our products and apps, and we all form an opinion based on how it feels using it, right? So there's a lot of advocacy that we need to do as designers, as the design team across the organization, to sort of make people aware that is important and why. And that is tough. It's an infinite game.
Next question. Yes. And this is the part of the event where I do quite a lot of cardio, so leg day.
I aware that the product style very keeps the same very colorful and joyful, and want to make customers feel very happy to use this product. My question is that do you ever consider a situation that maybe the system has some error or shutdown, and during the transaction, and the customers feels very anxious about that? And do you still keep the same style, colorful website and the design to ease this anxiety, or will you use another style gray website or black dark website to ease this anxiety?
Okay, so when you come across errors, it depends what. Like in case of a declined transaction, I think we have a crying face emoji or something like that, or just an X icon. I don't remember now. But definitely in those contexts, we play a little bit safer, because we understand that you might get a declined transaction. You are in a store, you have a line of customers. That will not feel good for them, right? So you don't want to joke or bring funny outcomes to those experiences. So you definitely need to balance and understand when you have a great opportunity to do so, and when instead you should go, should play more safe in that respect. And by the way, it's not at our platform. So we showed you a few key screens where our branding is more evident, but also our products like invoicing or other subscription management. We have many different tools that form our platform. They are also, there's a balance there, right? So the experience is more standard in some of those areas, but it's all about identifying, okay, here I can do something that feels a little bit more unique and clever, right? An example, I don't know how many of you use Asana. When you close a task, you have a unicorn flying. So that is a delight opportunity, and that unicorn has become a brand token for them, right? So this is delight, is those little things that all together create, just make the product more enjoyable and engaging. And that's eventually will be what people talk about, right? Because obviously Asana is a project management tool. You have the board, you have the task, and you complete them. There are a lot of products like that. So what can you do to differentiate, right? And this is what we are trying to do with our product.
Thank you so much. And I also have another question about the I'm new to this area, and I'm curious about how to design the keywords when customers finish transaction, and you will show in the interface. to let customers know the information, like you would choose to let them know the security about this transaction or satisfaction about that?
We use really the most simple visual language that we can, because those are the interaction that we users are doing nearly in a regular basis. So we go towards a simplicity, and especially these moments are embedded in the product. We don't go towards those flashy things. There's one thing that we haven't used yet are these emojis, but I know so many companies, they're also creating this emotion connection through the emojis. So yeah, you want to add something?
No, that's great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Excellent. Next question on this side. Thank you, Jess.
Hi, I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit more about the content design function in terms of your brand and that UX writing piece, because I think you did an amazing job of talking through the illustration, the color palettes, all of that. I'm wondering if you could expand a little bit more on the use of words in terms of your brand voice.
Yes, so that's an example. So if you're referring to the 404 page as well as the access denied, that would say access denied, no swim today. So those are learnings that come from the marketing world, the marketing and the brand world. Because when we do advertisement, that's, you always need to think of how can you marry the visual with the copy, so to create something more meaningful and clever. And so when we do when we bring the light into our products, we can also bring those learnings. And of course, those are, again, depending on the context. There are obviously, I would say 80% of even more, like 90% of the platform is just, we're trying to, just use good UX writing and microcopy that are informative, actionable, concise. So all those principles are like king. But when you have those opportunities to do something a little bit more clever, all the learnings from brand and marketing are still very valuable and relevant. So we need to do more. We need to bring more from that world and create, more of a blend between these two departments. Because again, that's what, for our audience, for our prospects externally, they only see Helcim, which is one brand. And so that brings more cohesion overall in the journey.
And I just want to add one more thing that I've noticed, especially at Helcim. There is a great proximity between product design team and brand design team. If a few companies, you do have these barriers where you don't even know what's happening in the marketing team, but we are very close to, and we are really feeding one another our expertise. So this is one of the reasons that we product designers understood the value of copywriting and merging it with the visual image.
So just to clarify, do you have like a dedicated UX writer and content designer, or do you typically engage with
We
those
do
other
not
units? Okay.
yet. That is a function that is currently on the product designers in the team, and eventually product managers, but also product marketers do a final check to make sure that copy is, like the micro copy is actionable, is concise, and it's also branded. That's why product marketing also makes sense to go through that copy.
Thank you. Next question. Alan?
So, congratulations. What a great visual, experience that is.
Thank you.
Yeah. A lot of hard work there. What I'm getting here is that you're very much marketing and brand led in Helcim. And I haven't really understood where the user comes in, to be honest. Do you trust the brand people, that they are connected with your users? How do you actually connect with the users to drive the design and make sure that your brand image is is acceptable to your user base and to the people that use your software and your products?
So again, not everything we do is brand or marketing led inside our products, right? So we still have those two departments with those two different scopes, but we're trying to fill that gap by bringing more branding inside through the light opportunities. So it's about, identifying the right opportunity and then leverage our brand. So we know that our audience resonate with our brand because we are trying to come across very differently compared to other payments companies. If you think of Moneris, we like to joke that, everything we do is the opposite of them. That's our sort of like goal. And we want to be different in that way. And of course, it's all about, the challenge is understanding that fine line to not overdo. So you can think of it as a spectrum. So you saw earlier we had Rolex and we had Figma. Okay, so we are probably more in the middle, more toward Figma, but not absolutely like Figma. So Figma goes even beyond because they built, their brand personality around, values that are, very fun and collaborative, but their tool is used by like young designers. They built, the whole branding around like a specific. It's intentional. It's intentionally fun. But of course, we eventually are still a payments company, and it's about like, credit card info and sensitive data, and it's money. And when it's about money, people want to be serious also, right? So it's a delicate line that it's balance that we're trying to execute. So, but at the same time, we don't want to be like everybody else, like just very cold, monotone, transactional. We want to push it more on the human side. So there are humans beyond the company, beyond the service. There are humans. And one of our brand pillars is like customer service. The fact that we are showing our number like front face in the head of our website because we want you to call us, because we want to establish eventually a relationship with you, which is something that nobody else is doing in this space. And so you put all of these things together, and then you're trying to image a visual language that match all of this. And we believe that this is matching.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's refreshing for sure. But like you say, you don't want to go too much on the fun side.
Yeah, and we don't want to go too
you're
far.
In a serious
Exactly.
business, right? Second follow-up question. How would you suggest that a more traditional organization is able to encourage their management to adapt to delight opportunities like this in their world?
So again, I really want to emphasize to break the barriers between marketing team and the product design team. What we also do within the product design team is we have created key journeys, and on those key journeys, we have identified the moments where we have the most user interaction and when something is happening. And this is where we are trying to make those moments delightful. So if the product designers and the team, they identified those key moments, and we can finish the gap between brand design and the product design team. I know it's more easier to say when you have a brand design team in-house. But what if your marketing team is completely an external team, or you have, in that case, I'm not sure if I can build something on that. But yeah, if you have this luxury to having in-house brand design team, marketing team, I think the first step is to bring those teams together, creating those moments where you can bring those delight. And again, this is one small step of creating those moments with the users. Otherwise, with the product design team, there is an ongoing work from all different angles. How can make it the user experience better?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Excellent. It's almost 7 p.m. Is it okay to make one more question? Well, I don't see any hands up, so maybe not. All right. Let me come over this way. And this is a question that I normally... Sorry, Bertosz. This is a question that I normally ask to everybody. So for anybody in the audience, what would be the best way to reach out to you?
So
there is a scanner. you can see, and you can always add us on LinkedIn. So we're going to be here, and after this presentation, please come and see us. We would love to speak about more what we do, and if you're interested in Helcim, please come and meet us.
Excellent.
I'm going back to the beginning. Here. Yeah, we are both on LinkedIn, so please feel free to add us. And I'm always happy to chat with with junior designers, having coffee chats. I love that. And now we can hang around down there, do a little bit of networking if you guys want. Happy to further talk.
Excellent. Any final remarks before we go and have some cookies together?
Be courageous, and if you find any moment that you can make a difference, just go to your product manager and say, this particular area, I think we can do something.
Yes, and it is also about understanding what is the right delight for your product, because I know that maybe some of you are designers in an oil and gas company, and we have one here. So
nobody's perfect.
The delight there can be different, but it can still be, because those products eventually have customers, they have users. And so it is about to understand how the brand is manifesting into the product. And then from there, you can understand how to leverage to create moments that, go beyond user expectations. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank
Amazing. A big round of applause. Yes. Yeah, I have to say, thank you so much, Rodolfo. Thank you so much, Charlene, for being here. I've seen how much work they put to these presentations. So please, another round of applause. They totally deserve it. And maybe you don't notice, but there's more people from the Helcim team. So please don't forget about them. Please, another round of applause. And thank you everybody for being here. Thank you to our volunteers for helping us out. We have so many awesome people making everything coming out so nicely that I think everybody, I'm super grateful you made it all the way to here, considering that they were, I don't know, Christmas parties, holiday shopping, you name it, right? So thank you for being here. And this is the last event of 2024. So stay tuned. 2025 is going to be awesome. And pretty soon we're going to let you know what is happening in January. So see you soon.